We're gonna do a short intro. We're gonna do a short intro, then we'll watch the video. Okay. Actually, do I even need an intro? I don't think I need an intro. Okay, we're just gonna jump straight into the video. All of the info will be included.
This video is sponsored by Opera.
Please let me know how audio
So
sounds.
hear me out. A typical microwave oven is about 1,000 watts.
I'm gonna pause immediately. My YouTube comments have let me know that this dude is in fact in his 30s, and I still don't buy it. I do truly believe this dude is like 15 years old. He looks incredibly young. Honestly. Do a good basic YouTube. Okay, we'll do the intro now. Hi, YouTube. Hello. Today we are going to be watching I built a 20,000 microwave oven from Styropyro. It was a very recommended video to me in the YouTube comments. If you guys like content like this, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to restart the video because I interrupted. Okay? As my hand does a little jig.
This video is sponsored by Opera. So hear me out. A typical microwave oven is about 1,000 watts. Well, I'm wondering what kind of fun could be had with an oven that's 20 times stronger. Now, I'm sure many of you have wondered this as well. But if not,
I can safely say I have never wondered what a 20,000 or what a microwave would be like if it was 10 times stronger. I wonder if it's a little bit stronger. My microwave sucks. I bought a $20 microwave from Walmart, and that bitch sucks.
There are a few things that a 20,000 watt microwave would accomplish. Now, the obvious one is cooking food faster. I mean, in this day and age, I shouldn't have to wait minutes to cook a Hot Pocket. Oh no.
If you like dog shit content, please subscribe.
If you like dog shit content, please subscribe. Hold on, chat. We're gonna ragdoll so I can turn off closed caption because I don't know. Bounce on it? Hello? Okay.
This should take seconds. Microwave experiments should be 20 times more exciting as well. I mean, even an oven like this is capable of some cool tricks.
Wait, why are we putting a flaming paper towel in there, my dude? Just why?
So I'm hoping that throwing obscene powers at these classic demos will give some fun surprises. And this brings
That brings me back to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I microwaved a like ramen noodle in a microwave. Just seeing those flames inside. I microwaved a ramen noodle without water. And it burnt the fuck up and melted the plastic bowl it was in because I was like fucking like 7 trying to make my own noodles. And it caught on fire, and my fucking sister put it out and threw it out the window behind the sink because it stunk really bad.
Last point. The plasmas that could be made would be hellish. Like seriously, if you thought plasmas in a normal oven were cool, imagine the kind of witchcraft that you could pull off at extreme power. Is there anything that it wouldn't melt? There's only one way to find out. Let's build a 20,000
Dude's nips are hard.
watt microwave. So, how do you get 20,000 watts out of a microwave oven? Well, you only need to upgrade 2 components. Let me open one of these up and show you what I mean. Now, I gotta say it, the power supply...
Did you get that fucking microwave from the 1980s? That bitch looks ancient.
Microwave oven is lethal. In fact, when science hobbyists get killed by their projects, more often than not, it's because they were screwing around with microwave parts like these. Anyway, this right here...
Was the stroke necessary, dude?
Is what generates the microwave radiation in an oven. It's called a magnetron. Now,
It looks like it's also produced by Toshiba. I didn't know Toshiba made microwave parts.
interestingly, this is actually a vacuum tube, which means unlike phones, TVs, and radios, the main technology in microwaves is the same as it was 70 years ago. Pretty cool, right? So can you just dump more power into this magnetron and get more power out? Well, you can, but only to a point. I've actually tried this, but I only got to a few thousand watts before it blew up, so this method won't get me to 20 kilowatts. I simply need a bigger magnetron. Now, unfortunately, even though oven magnetrons are a dime a dozen, big ones are really hard to come by. In fact, I've been waiting for years to make a video like this, but I simply couldn't find a big magnetron. However, my luck finally changed. Enter the Megatron. This water-cooled beast is...
Where the fuck did you get that beast from, my dude? Bro even sounds 15? He looks and sounds incredibly young.
rated for
Dude is actually a mad
16,000
scientist
watts
with the
drive
fountain of
power,
eternal youth.
and I plan on pushing it to 20. It's actually kind of funny that I'm even allowed to own this. Now there's a bit of lore to how I
Okay, again, how did he get it? How did he even get it?
this beast. It was an eBay purchase,
Oh,
but it
never
was
mind.
not me that found the listing. It was the notorious Discord entity Charizard Rect that tipped me off to some monster magnetrons being sold as heat exchangers. I bought a few, and although one came DOA, 2 were still functional. I was salty about the dead unit, but then a scorpion jumped out of the package, which I thought was a pretty cool
What do you mean a scorpion jumped out of the package? Where the fuck did it come from? Look at that bitch.
consolation prize. Since I don't know anything about scorpions,
Oh.
I asked Arya to identify it and tell me what it eats, as well as help convince me to keep it as a pet. Arya is the built-in AI that's unique to Opera, which is actually the browser cool enough to sponsor this video. Opera is a fast and redesigned browser that's packed with features to maximize productivity. Now, one thing I really like about Opera is the concept of tab islands. If you're the type of nerd to watch a video like this, there's a good chance you're like me and let your browser tabs get a bit chaotic. Now, don't let the haters fool you. You'll definitely come
like
back
Opera
to those
to an
tabs
extent.
at some point.
I like
With
Opera
tab
to an
islands,
extent.
you don't need to close out of tabs to declutter.
I'm just a
You
little
can
sad
simply
that
group them
sometimes
together by context,
some
which
like
makes them
Twitch
much
plugins and
easier to
stuff I
find
want to
later.
use don't actually work
You can
for
even
Opera.
mark
They're
tabs
not
by an
optimized for
emoji,
Opera.
which I found to be a great way to quickly find a tab. As I've already mentioned, Opera stands out with its integrated browser AI Arya. I can bring it up in an instant with a command line, and then have it tell me how to power a
Anybody
magnetron
actually
or
use
generate
Opera
images of my
AI?
scorpion
I don't
as
use
my
Opera
lab
AI.
assistant. However, my favorite feature of Arya is that it can summarize a page,
Cringe.
which is very time-saving. Opera has lots of other features I like as well. For example, I can highlight text and have it explained, and the same feature can translate text as well.
Oh, I
There's
didn't know
also
it
an
could
ad
do that. I
blocker
didn't know
you
it
can
could do
turn
that.
on and off wherever you want,
I always
as
just
well as an
Google search
integrated free VPN.
translate.
So yeah, if you're looking for a smoother, more productive AI-powered browser, you should definitely give Opera a spin and click the link in the description. Thank you to Opera for sponsoring this video. Anyway, what do I do with this now? So can I just jam this thing in there and call it a day? Well, there's one problem with that. It don't fit.
No
I could have
shit,
just built
dude.
a bigger waveguide, but I thought back to some of the oldest microwaves that I took apart over the years.
Okay, genuinely, did that bitch come from the 1950s? That looks ancient as shit, dude.
Remember that some of the oldest ones had big waveguides inside of them. So I picked up this old radar range microwave from the 70s, and
70s, I was
love
close.
how it looks. But to be honest, it's also just built like a tank. Like, they don't make microwaves like they used to. Gosh, this thing weighs like 80 or 90 pounds, I think. So it's a real beast. The huge magnetron
where'd the video go?
fits
Hold on.
perfectly inside the oven. But it brings up another
Okay.
issue. How am I going to power it? I need 20 times more power than this thing can provide. So perhaps I can take apart 20 microwaves, chain together the transformers, and power it that way? Nope, that sounds horrible. I have a better solution in mind. I bought this cute distribution transformer that'll be perfect for the job. Now it is technically
Styropyro brings me joy.
Styropyro also brings me joy. Like, low-key, I know I only watched like a couple videos, but I was, I don't know, something about the mad scientist aspect makes me happy. Thank you for the resub, Crane. Why were we watching the ad? Because we watched the ads, chat. We watched them all.
a bit undersized for the load, but for short runs, it'll be fine. All right, it's all wired up now. Let's fire this beast up. Now, before I stick anything crazy in there, I just want to try boiling some water to make sure it actually works.
It's going to fucking explode, my dude. Please.
Now, I will admit that running this thing isn't quite as straightforward as running a household oven. So let me show you the startup sequence. Now, you do have to close the door because there's no safety interlock to prevent you from cooking the room if you leave it open. So I'm going to start by firing up this water pump here.
The water pump
next,
for a microwave
I'm
is
gonna go
crazy.
here and fire up the magnetron filament. Next, I'm going to hit this switch here, which energizes that boosting auto transformer, which then feeds my Variac. And now, I'm going to take my Variac and crank it all the way to 100.
Crank that, soldier boy.
And this switch right here is what finally powers it up. So, let's boil some water.
Danger, kill, main grounds. Okay.
A typical microwave oven takes nearly 2 minutes to bring a cup of water to its boiling point.
Yo, the fact that it started fucking, like, I wouldn't say boiling, but like actively like moving like it was going to boil in like 5
A
seconds.
typical
Is crazy.
microwave oven takes nearly 2 minutes to bring a cup of water to its boiling point.
Woo.
This one goes beyond that.
Yo, chat, the water popping genuinely jump scared me a little. That's crazy.
In seconds. Yes, water actually explodes because it superheats faster than it can boil. If water explodes in there, imagine what'll happen to things you aren't supposed to microwave. I'm sure you're dying to see how fast food will cook in that thing. But the fact that it makes water explode...
Okay, genuinely, I genuinely don't think food will cook in there. I think the food will just explode. Hold on, I gotta adjust myself a little bit.
Gotta try some of the classic microwave experiments first. So, let's see what it does to a light bulb. What could possibly go wrong?
Wait, do people microwave just random things to see what happens? Because I don't think I've ever done that. Why are you microwaving a light bulb?
All right. Here we go.
That bitch just imploded. That's crazy. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that. Honestly, I honestly didn't know that.
Wow. It's just instantaneous. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's hilarious. Look at that. It just turned it into dust. Oh, that is so funny.
It exploded crazy fast.
By comparison, when I tried this in a normal oven,
when I see chat, I bust as fast as that light bulb.
it took nearly 10 seconds to melt through, and it didn't even come close to exploding.
Pretty lights make brain happy.
Is it a good idea to microwave an egg? Let's find out.
Oh, the egg's about to be fucking diabolical, bro.
Right. Here we go. Oh my goodness.
Exploded in 2 seconds is crazy.
I tried an egg in a normal oven as well, and it took over 30 seconds to pop and wasn't nearly as violent. I'm curious what'll happen to a plasma globe inside this thing.
Remember the iPhone 6 was bending? Did people actually microwave their iPhone 6? Please let me know if you microwaved your iPhone 6.
All right. How do I even do this kind of stuff?
Oh, that's cool. Oh. That's cool until it exploded. Ooh.
That was so loud. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was crazy. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. It's just like powder. Oh, you gotta see this.
Yeah, show us.
That was reduced into dust. Into just dust. There's like, those pieces are so tiny. That's crazy. That actually exploded so violently that bits of glass shot holes in the Mica waveguide cover. Yikes. Now
Yo, that's a crazy explosion of glass, though. Imagine how bad that fucking would cut you up. This is the beginning. We're about 10 minutes in.
Plasma.
And good morning.
The metallic coating on this chip bag should be pretty interesting. Let's activate the shrink ray.
Oh, brother. Ugh.
Instantly. A lit candle can be crazy in a normal oven, so I figured it'd be worth trying in this thing as well.
Huh. Yo, that's crazy! Dude created a fucking whole fire vortex inside of this bitch. That's crazy.
A funny side effect of all that plasma is that it turns the air in there into deadly nitrogen dioxide gas, which gives it that brown color. Now, if you're wondering how I'm filming inside the oven, I just have a hole drilled in the cavity there. And then, over here, I just have
what? I was high-key wondering how he was filming inside the microwave, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think
a
about
cell
that.
phone that's just taped to the walls there. Now this works because the hole is pretty small relative to the microwave wavelength, so it doesn't let much radiation out. Now I'm not the first YouTuber to use this technique. I think Cody's Lab was the first to do it on YouTube.
Yo, and before he melts the phone to the fucking back of the microwave with how hot it's gonna get, that's crazy.
But then Nile Red has a good video on microwave plasmas that uses this, and then Steve Mold actually has a whole video about, filming inside a microwave. Anyway, I think it's time we cook some actual food in this thing. And it's funny because after years of doing everything with a microwave that you're not supposed to, I'm finally going to come full circle and use a microwave oven to simply heat some food. Let's start with a Hot Pocket.
Yo,
The instructions say it needs to cook for...
he's gonna turn that Hot Pocket into a fucking volcano. That bitch is gonna come out erupting. That's
nearly
crazy.
3 minutes in a puny home oven. I'm hoping this MACROWAVE will cook it faster. Well, it didn't explode, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Oh, it's gonna explode. Turn it off, bro.
Alright, let's take a look.
That fucking Hot Pocket took a breath and then let out a sigh of relief. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, looks done. Oh yeah, it feels done too. Well, there's your 10-second Hot Pocket. Now the most surprising part about
Yo, it almost reached boiling point. That's insane.
this is that it cooked evenly, because I know this oven has some hot spots. I wonder how quickly a hot dog will cook in this thing.
I'm sorry I keep pausing so much. This is gonna smell atrocious.
I was kinda hoping it would explode, but at least it was cooked in seconds. I actually left it in there way too long, judging by what it looks like afterwards. I chucked a potato in there without stabbing any holes in it, also with
Oh,
the
the
hope that
potato's
it would
gonna explode.
But unfortunately, it simply flash cooked like it was supposed to. It did make some funny whistling sounds though.
Ooh.
In fact,
Ooh.
a lot of foods make that funny whistle, and pickles
Pickle?
turned out to be one of the best noisemakers.
Yo, chat, I'm sorry. I'm gonna derail for a fucking second. I saw a TikTok earlier today, and a lady was like, they pickle all these vegetables, but how comes nobody pickles cucumbers? And I genuinely couldn't tell if she was being serious. I don't know if anybody else has seen that, but I couldn't tell if she was being serious. And unfortunately, it was at the end of my lunch, so I just had to scroll on.
Let's test another microwave food classic, popcorn.
This is also going to smell atrocious. Your son... Oh, no, pickle. I'm sorry.
This one was actually kind of disappointing, because it took 30 seconds to pop fully. Now this is several times faster than a normal oven, but I was hoping it'd be instantaneous. At least it didn't burn though.
Oh.
Now it's time for everybody's favorite food to microwave, the grape. And you know what?
Is that everybody's favorite food to microwave? I thought the fucking egg was the favorite food to microwave just because it exploded and it's funny.
Go ahead and cut it almost in half, just to make sure, it heats nice and evenly, Like,
Grapes make plasma? Oh, okay.
this. And yeet.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. John, thank you for the follow. That's insane. I didn't know grapes made plasma.
Unfortunately, the fragrant smell of roasted grape is hidden by the suffocating nitrogen dioxide fumes, which is the deadly brown gas left in the beaker there. Instead of cutting a grape in half, I just tossed in some unmodified grapes to see if I get the same result. Yep, grapes are haunted. These grape plasmas are incredibly bright, but of particular interest is their color. They glow white and even have bits of blue coming through. I'm wondering if they're being heated beyond white hot to blue hot. The big brain way to answer this question would be to take a UV visible spectrum, fit it to the Planck radiation law, and determine the temperature that way. But you know what? That doesn't sound nearly as fun as chucking a bunch of metal in there and seeing what kind of hell is unleashed. So yeah.
You're gonna put metal in that bitch? That's crazy. And hi, Melanie. I hope you're doing well. I love to see you again. Mwah. This dude's actual fucking mad scientist. He's one step away from being Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
That. Let's see if the macrowave can melt magnesium ribbon, or at least see what kind of plasma it'll make.
Oh. Oh, yo, that's pretty. The bluish green.
Not only did it melt and burn in there, but it also managed to show off some of its green spectral colors, which is in contrast to the white you get by simply burning it in air. Aluminum melts at only slightly higher temperatures than magnesium, but for the sake of curiosity, I'm going to toss some foil in there anyway. Alright, here goes nothing.
Oh. Yo, that was a pretty like cyan blue when it started burning. I like that. That's pretty.
Now that is like an arc furnace. Oh my goodness. Now it's time for something more challenging. Copper needs to be very hot before it melts.
Ooh.
So let's see how it holds up in the macrowave.
Oh, it kind of melted.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it
it
melted
melted.
almost instantly. Now this also brings up an important point about the glass. It's actually astonishing how well these Pyrex beakers have held up to the plasma. The same cannot be said about this Pyrex bakeware. The difference is that the
I was about to say the Pyrex bakeware definitely isn't gonna last. I've had that bitch shatter just from being taken out of the oven and into the cool kitchen, dude. I love that they're using all elements using fireworks. So seeing the plasma color versus the firework color is super cool. That is really cool. Can imagine someone doing this in a garage door open at night and neighbors seeing bright light being like, what the fuck? I would definitely be calling like fucking like 911 assuming somebody's house is burning down.
beakers are made from borosilicate glass, which has very low thermal expansion. Pyrex bakeware used to be made from this as well, but has since been changed to tempered float glass, and its internal stress patterns are easy to see in a polariscope.
Huh.
This change is unfortunate for home science, but it does make for less dangerous breaks in the kitchen, as it tends to explode into tiny bits as opposed to razor shards. Anyway, let's move up the temperature scale to some thermite.
Okay.
Thermite is so hard to ignite that you can buy it pre-mixed and have it shipped to you without crazy restrictions. I'm hoping this macrowave can achieve its high ignition point.
Yo, deadass. Deadass, I thought that was just straight up a handful of dirt.
Huh, so that's what it took to break one of those beakers. It basically just exploded in there. All the iron product...
Wait, my brain didn't process that. Hold on, we're backtracking, chat. We're backtracking. My brain did not process. A little bit more.
Crazy restrictions. I'm hoping this macrowave can achieve its high ignition point. Yeet.
Jesus, this flame's coming out of the front of it.
Huh, so that's what it took to break one of those beakers. It basically just exploded in there. All the iron product is dispersed in little droplets. That was fun. Although that reaction made molten iron, it was kind of cheating due to all the chemical energy released. Let's try directly melting.
It's the Federation of Bacon. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. No, that thermite explosion was crazy, though. Ow.
Some iron in the form of steel wool.
I was about to say steel wool. Oh my god. And that, it just evaporated. Chat, it's gone. It evaporated.
Yep, no problem there. Next on the list is titanium. This stuff is quite hard to melt, but I think the macrowave can pull it off. Alright, let's melt some titanium.
Ooh, bright light. We should probably put a flash warning up on this video.
Yeah, I'm gonna see spots for a long time. That was so bright. Oh my goodness.
What just exploded, bros? Thank you for the head pats, by the way.
Oh my. I'm running out of metals with higher melting.
Is that Christmas tinsel? Bro's gonna That's what I was gonna joke about the start of stream, about the start of this video. Dude's gonna make fucking gel nanas and go back in time. It's crazy.
Points. So this time I'm gonna try making rubies, based on a cool video by Nighthawk and Light.
Oh look, Crane, he's making more rubies.
Okay, so I ran into a lot of issues with this one, but it was mostly due to stupidity on my part. The gist of this procedure is that you use a microwave plasma to melt an alumina-chromium mix, which yields ruby. However, for some reason, I thought Ben's procedure generated the alumina via an exotic thermite reaction between chromia and metallic aluminum. This false assumption led to a lot of broken glass and several failed shots. The funny part is that my chromia thermite still ignited with ease, which is probably even harder to pull off than making ruby. However, when I used alumina like I was supposed to, I still ran into issues.
Oh, it's
The
shattered.
plasma escaped and the glass container exploded after just a couple seconds. Fortunately, this was still enough time to finally make some ruby.
Ooh.
Thank goodness.
He did make tiny itty bitty little rubies. Look, chat.
You know, the fact that this can be done in a normal oven means I really haven't hit an impressive temperature yet. So, let's cut the fluff and move to something extreme. It's
What are we
time
doing?
for the metal with the highest melting point.
Oh, tungsten.
The melting point of this is literally thousands of degrees above anything else I've tried so far. So this one might be challenging.
Yo, fucking real shit though. This dude's gonna give himself a suntan from his microwave, okay? Dude's catching some mad radiation.
For whatever reason, the plasma in this beaker kept escaping confinement, so I couldn't give it a long enough zap. The wire may have burned a bit in there, but there wasn't any clear indication of melting, so I decided to give it another go on ceramic fiber. Heck. Oops.
What did he blow out? What did he blow out? What exploded?
I decided to give it another go on ceramic fiber.
What exploded? Oh, something on the side here.
Oops. Waveguide flashover. It turns out, free plasma in the oven is really bad, because it jumps back to the magnetron through the waveguide. I used these mica waveguide covers, which buy about a half a second of plasma escapes, but this one got all crispy without me realizing it. It won't take many flashovers like this to destroy the oven. And unfortunately, this is not the first time this has happened either. Alright, here we go. Oh, heck. Alright, we got a new waveguide cover. Let's try this again.
Ooh, it's burning the beaker. It's just burning the beaker. Y'all see that shit?
That run clearly melted some of the tungsten, as you can see by the beading on the wire. How that is impressive.
That's crazy.
So this macrowave is capable of melting any metal. But the thing is, I'd bet that plasma in there is substantially hotter than even tungsten's melting point. Unfortunately, there's nothing tougher that I can melt, so I can only say it's at least 3,422 degrees C. Now, something that I found is that although tungsten is the toughest metal I can throw in there, it's far from the most interesting. So to get to the point...
Homie, is that a lithium battery? Are we microwaving a lithium battery now? Oh my god.
What happens if I microwave a lithium battery? Well, embarrassingly, I couldn't get one to pop. The oven itself would flash over before anything happened to the battery. I tried cheating by using some steel wool to initiate a plasma, but even then, the plasma refused to stay contained. So, I decided on a different approach. I carefully opened one up and extracted the lithium foil inside. Microwaving this foil gave a surprising result.
Whoa. That was a really pretty shade of purple it ignited in.
That incredible red coloring is due to lithium's atomic emission
red?
spectrum. What I expected to see was maybe a few red flashes in an otherwise white plasma, simply because the temperatures are so high. The fact that the colorful spectral lines were favored opens up the possibility of all sorts of colorful plasmas. Now this brings up the question, what happens if I start chucking a bunch of weird chemicals and metals in there? Can I make a full rainbow of plasmas, at least?
Dude's actually gonna give himself, like, radiation poisoning. He's crazy, dude. I wanna know how many beakers he has. He just has a fucking permanent supply order with Amazon, man. Amazon be auto-delivering shit to him, like, every fucking 2 weeks.
To a Roy G. Biv approximation? Well, there's only one way to find out. For the next weird metal, let's try a lump of calcium. This sample is surprisingly still shiny, even though I've had it for years. I'm hoping it'll show off its orange spectral lines when yeeted into a plasma.
Ooh, pretty.
Well,
He could definitely
that was
cook
easy,
himself.
and stupidly bright as well. On to the next one. For yellow, I'm gonna zap some sodium metal. For reasons I'll get into soon, zapping the angry and highly reactive metallic form is a totally unnecessary way to see the sodium spectral colors. However, for the sake of memes, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Sick of memes.
I do need to address something first though. The last time I pulled out this lump of sodium, so many of you freaked out over the quantity.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of comments out here tripping shit that he has such a large chunk of sodium.
Now let me tell you a little something. This little chunk right here is nothing. In fact, when I was 13 years old, I obtained 2 400-pound barrels of
How the fuck did you get 2 400-pound barrels of sodium, dude?
metallic sodium. Now that's a story for a different day, but be assured,
Metallic sodium, is
this
he
ain't
saying?
much. Well, anyway, yeet.
The yellow fire is very pretty.
I want to point out that this exact yellow color has shown up in this video several times already, and in particular, all the times that glass is broken into plasma. This is because sodium in the glass is coloring the plasma. Now, Nile Red actually has an entire video on this very effect. It turns out, it only takes a little bit of sodium to make a lot of yellow light. And this can be a blessing or a curse depending on what you're
Yo, that's crazy. Whose fucking video is this from? Or did you do that yourself? Those trees are gonna go up in flames, dude.
trying to do. With yellow down, let's move on to green. I'm mixing up some trimethyl borate, which will hopefully show off boron spectral colors. Since this isn't conductive on its own, I'm using a sliver of aluminum wool to initiate it. It's funny because the free boron must have been thousands of times more concentrated than sodium in there. Yet it's the sodium yellow that stuck out at first. Eventually, the boron won out though, making a nice green color. Well, green was easy enough, so how hard can blue be? I figured copper would be the element to zap, but then I remembered that when I melted it, it didn't make much blue light. But that's the thing about copper. It has to be tickled in just the right way before it'll spit out blue light. And this is why blue is such a challenge in fireworks. So, I tried a pyrotechnics trick and added a source of chlorine in the form of copper chloride.
That shit looks... Hold on, chat. Light Slash, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. That shit looked radioactive. Like, scary radioactive.
This one sucked. I was hoping for blue emission from hot molecular copper chloride, but this really only made a little bit of blue. Maybe the plasma was too hot in there. I don't know, let's try something else. Microplastics.
Yum.
Maybe
My
this will
favorite.
provide a better form of chlorine for the copper. There were a few good flashes of blue in there, but still not what I wanted. Maybe I just need to change metals. I carefully opened up a lantern battery to extract the zinc metal casings.
Still
And what do
yellow.
you know? Sodium yellow. I even tried a strip of high purity zinc, and although this
I
one
don't know why
briefly
my hands are
flashed
doing that.
blue, it was still the trace sodium contamination that stole the show. Yellow chemistry at its finest. Embarrassingly, the bluest plasma I've gotten so far was actually just the aluminum foil I zapped earlier. Out of desperation, I decided to try this again in a bigger beaker, with the hopes that the higher volume would lower plasma density and favor atomic emission.
Ooh, pretty. Oh. Blue light makes brain go brr. Am happy. I wonder if he's going to use magnesium. I think he did use magnesium already, if I recall correctly.
Wow. All of those fancy chemicals and elements, only to be outperformed by a strip of aluminum foil. Chemistry is stupid. With blue finally down, it's time to take on indigo. And there's no better metal for indigo than indium. It's no coincidence they sound so similar, because indium was actually named after the color indigo. Why this is becomes very apparent when indium is zapped by my demon circuit, as it makes more indigo light than I've ever seen in my life.
What the fuck is the demon circuit? What do you mean?
Can the same be done with a macrowave? Let's plasmify some indium wire and find out. Blue? Ah! I tried so hard to get blue earlier, and now it shows up when I don't want it. Figures. Instead of indium wire, I melted some of the metal in the bottom of a beaker, hoping that it would provide more metal to the plasma. Nope, still blue. In hindsight, the ceramic fiber base was probably poisoning the color there, but I didn't consider that before trying the next experiment. I added some indium chloride, hoping either the chlorine or pre-ionized indium would change the color.
This dude's lab has to smell terrible and like nosebleeds, dude. I can only imagine. And hello, Netta, welcome in.
This was a big improvement, and although the plasma was a bit obscured by the smoke, I would have probably stopped here if it wasn't for the next experiment. As a side note, I should mention that while indium metal is essentially non-toxic, indium smoke is really bad to breathe in, as is ceramic fiber dust. These are one of many reasons I'm wearing a respirator. Anyway, I decided to try macrowaving some gallium crystals.
Do you guys think that this man's like 1000% on the FBI watch list? Do you think he has an agent that just like camps out in a fucking tent in his yard because of how many fucking weird experiments he experiments with? Dude's on a watch list for sure, yeah.
Very low melting temperature, but it turns out it has a beautiful emission.
He's been visited before. They're probably a member to this channel. He's probably #1 target. Oh my god. That's crazy. Remember, kids, safety first. Safety first, definitely.
Some crystals in the bottom of a beaker were enough to give some interesting colors, and flipping the beaker over really brought out the color. And what do you know? There's the last of the colors, violet. I didn't stop there though. I was curious what would happen if I made an alloy of gallium and indium, and then zapped that. Sure enough, a nice clear indigo started to come through. After playing with ratios, and settling on an alloy that was mostly indium, I created my favorite plasma of this entire project.
Oh, pretty. The buzzing makes my brain hurt, though.
Holy! Wow! Wow! That was perfect! That was beautiful! Yes! Yes! Ah, that was perfect! Oh, so beautiful! Ah, I'm sorry. Ah. I've made every color I wanted to, and melted every element I wanted to, and I don't even want to stop here. However, this video is getting pretty long. There's still so much more I want to do with my huge magnetrons. I even made this cool Faraday helmet for some of my more cursed ideas. I should probably save those experiments for a separate
That's a scary looking helmet, chat.
video, just because I don't want to rush through them. Instead, let me try to address some questions that I just know you guys will ask about otherwise. What does it do to electronics? Well, most things I threw in there gave the same result. RAM sticks? Plasma. Neon bulbs? Plasma. PCBs? Plasma. Christmas lights? Some funny colors, but mostly plasma. The only electronic device that didn't ionize was this broken calculator. But the smoke it made was essentially a chemical war crime. I tried CDs as well, but their coatings vaporized in a fraction of a second.
Oh.
So, what about the health risks of this contraption? Well, the real risk here isn't microwaves, it's the power supply. Now, put simply, you touch any of this stuff while it's live, you'll die instantly. But as for the tiny bit of microwaves that escape the oven, those are harmless for the same reason your Wi-Fi router is harmless. And that's because microwaves are non-ionizing radiation. Hold up. Microwaves are non-ionizing radiation? Didn't I just spend the entire video ionizing stuff with microwaves? Yes. So let me explain by briefly talking about radiation. Now this word scares a lot of people because they associate it with scary forms that cause cancer. But not all radiation is this way. Microwaves are a type of electromagnetic radiation. This type of radiation includes scary stuff like X-rays, as well as just light. This does not include particle radiation, like you get from some kinds of radioactive decay. Now this is where things get confusing. Ionizing radiation includes high-energy EM stuff,
Connor 2004, thank you for the follow. Welcome in.
as well as particle radiation, and nuclear radiation falls here as well, but not all ionizing EM radiation is nuclear radiation, if that makes sense. Okay, all that considered, you may have
My brain's a little melty. Honestly, this is a lot of science, but it's been a lot of fun to watch.
heard that light has properties of both a particle and a wave, right? Well, this is where the distinction of ionizing comes in. Ionizing EM radiation is where one light particle, or photon, has enough energy to strip an electron off of an atom and ionize it. Photons with this energy can mutate DNA, leading to cancer. A microwave photon is literally 1,000,000 times weaker than this threshold. Now, to be fair, a photon doesn't have to be quite at ionizing energy to be cancer-causing.
Yo, that's fucking scary. Those marshmallows. Yuck.
As UV can still cause damaging photochemical reactions to DNA. But even this is 100,000 times more energetic than microwaves. Then how do microwaves ionize stuff? So bear with me. I've already mentioned that microwaves are electromagnetic, which means they have an associated electric and magnetic field. Now, it's the electric field that's relevant here, and an important property about these fields is that they add up. That means that when you put enough microwaves in a small enough space, the electric field grows to the point where it can rip apart atoms and molecules on its own. This effect is not exclusive to microwaves, and even visible light will ionize air if there's enough of it. Sticking your hand in the oven won't shoot a bunch of holes in your DNA and give you cancer. It will simply cook it like you dunked it in lava. Of course, burns only happen at huge powers. At low power, like what leaks through the oven door, those risks simply aren't there. Oh, and for the record, I did measure the microwave leakage from this, and it's so small that it's well within the legal safety limits of what's allowed to be sold for home use. It's incredibly well sealed. Well, other than one mishap where the tape on the door exploded and EMP'd one of my cameras. But you don't need to worry about that. So hopefully that convinced you that microwaves are safe in small amounts. Because on an unrelated note, I now have to give you an update on my health issues. Now before I end this video, I think I'm obligated to give you some updates on what I brought up in my last video. As a recap, I recently found out that I have just like bonkers testosterone levels, and this is concerning because I also have had these unexplained markers for liver disease going back more than 10 years. Well, since posting that video, I went through the medical ringer.
Ooh,
I got poked
no.
and irradiated and fondled in about like every way you can imagine.
That's scary.
And no actual disease was identified, although they still found a little bit of liver scarring on the liver biopsy. Now, even though I don't know what's wrong, this is still a pretty good result because it means that, well, it rules out a bunch of nasty diseases, but also means that whatever is wrong doesn't seem to be progressing very quickly. Now, if something changes, or if by some chance I actually solve this mystery, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Now, many of you brought up that I may have caused these issues due to all my experiments. And of course, I can't help but wonder that as well. I mean, maybe it shouldn't be a surprise that somebody that does what I do has, weird and unexplained disease. But you know what? I know it wasn't microwaves that caused it,
It wasn't
or anything
microwaves.
high voltage like Tesla coils, because I've had these disease markers since before I ever messed with that kind of stuff. Now, chemicals, or I guess technically lasers for some reason, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I like to think I've been pretty careful to limit exposures, But then again, I've been doing that stuff my whole life, so it's possible that some small exposures added up
He's doing his best to limit exposures, but
to something.
is a mad scientist.
But I wonder about the reverse possibility as well. I never had my testosterone levels measured before this year, but because I don't have any symptoms of like hormone changes, there's a good chance they've always been that way. And in assuming that is true, then I wonder how much of a role did that play in my extreme hobbies? I mean, basically every activity I enjoy is dangerous, and it's been that way since I was a preteen. And considering the associations of testosterone with risk-seeking behavior, I feel like, bonkers hormone levels to start with might explain some things. So yeah, whether I caused my crazy body chemistry or whether crazy body chemistry caused me, I feel like both are about as equally likely. So that's about all I have for you today.
Squirrel!
So until the next time, stay safe
It's so
and happy
cute.
microwaving.
Alright, thank you guys for watching with me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Mwah.